So actually, there is a problem in joining this link. Even I've been trying since 15 minutes. I think everybody must be facing this problem.
Actually, problem is that I started late, that is the problem. Now I think everybody would have been able to join.
Okay, sir, got it.
Because unless I log in, how you can log in? That's the problem. So now I think everyone would be able to join.
Okay, sir.
Let's Madhuji see. She was not unable to connect. अरहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So yeah, last week we completed chapter 2, शास्त्रों के अर्थ करने की पद्धति. Today we will be doing the first chapter, Mahavirashtak Stotra. It's written by Pandit Bhagchand ji. It's a kind of prayer only. And Pandit Bhagchand ji was born in 1830 Common Era and he died in 1886 Common Era. So his life was very short, 56 years, but he was a spiritually inclined poet and he wrote so many of the uh, poems and other articles also. So in this, it's a prayer to Bhagwan Mahavir, the last Tirthankar, and the prayer has been expressed in many ways. And the conclusion is that the devotee wants to keep Bhagwan Mahavir above his head and he wants to follow the footsteps of Bhagwan Mahavir and become God one day. So it's actually in Sanskrit. It's written in Sanskrit and of course we have the English translation also. Do you have any questions for the last week's?
No, sir. So I have written my assignment in Excel format. I hope that's okay.
Okay, no problem. You mailed me across?
Yes, sir. It's been mailed to you.
Okay, I'll check it.
Okay, sir.
Madhuji is not able to join. What could be the problem?
So I asked her to log out and log in again. That is how it worked for me also.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, do we have the PDF version of this book?
Yeah, Himali ji will share it right now. I made you co-host, Himali.
Yeah. Oh, okay, sir.
Can you please share it on the group as well?
Okay. Sure.
Just enlarge it a bit.
Yes, sir.
Full screen. Not this one.
Yes. So 8, no?
No, 1, chapter 1. First chapter. Yeah. So Mahavira Ashtak Stotra is written by Pandit Bhakchan ji.
Can you please share it again? Actually, by mistake, I deleted it.
It's on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, on the group. Can you please share it again?
So Arunji, how about your assignments you are completing?
Yes, sir. I have one chapter for me. I'll do it by this weekend.
Okay. And follow the deadlines, okay? Because
Yes,
once
sir.
you get delayed, every time you get delayed. So you make it a habit that you have to complete the assignments on time. 21 days is enough time. And actually, now the assignments have become very easy. You can even message me, voice message me also. Don't need to write also. All the options have been given, but this is for our own benefit that if you sit and write, you will think on those topics and your thought process will also improve. So basically it's our understanding that we are going to improve. So just take it upside.
Yes, sir.
Hemali,
Yes, sir.
take it up. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was just trying to help Madhuji, sorry.
Acha, good.
Okay, sir.
Hmm.
She's trying to join again.
Now she will be able to join, I suppose.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is written in Sanskrit in anywhere around 1830 to 1886, in between that period. And this is a prayer to Lord Mahavir, and the devotee or the seeker wishes that Lord Mahavir always stay as his guide, and he also walks on the path of liberation and get liberated. So this has been very nicely composed by Pandit Bhakchan ji, and we will read the English meaning only because the Sanskrit won't help us. So if anybody wants to read in Sanskrit, it's fine. But if you can't read, then you just read the English one. Okay. So Malti ji, I will start with you. First two.
Just a second. यदि ये चैतन्ये मुकुर भाव सुचंतिका समम भांति द्रव्य जन्मिल संतोतरेभता जगत साक्षी मार्ग प्रकटन करो भानुरिभयो महावीर स्वामी नयन पतिगामी वधु में. Just as substances in front of a mirror are reflected in it, in the same way, all animate and inanimate objects, with their origination, disappearance, and permanence, are at one and at the same moment reflected in whose omniscience and who is the seer and knower of the world and illumines the path of spiritual perfection. Just as the sun bestows its light on all the worldly paths, I implore that Lord Mahavir to stay in the path of manifestation. Both of whose lotus eyes, without glimmer and redness, expose the humans the absence of external and internal passions, that is anger, whose appearance is utterly pure and calm, I implore thee, O Lord Mahavir, to stay in the path of my vision. Both of whose lotus feet are illuminated with the brilliance of the gems of the crowns of the Lord of the heavenly beings, who pacifies the flames of the fire of agonies of the creatures of this world by his remembrance only like water, I implore that perfection incarnate, Lord Mahavir, to stay in the path of my vision.
Stop. So first we will see the first 3 words. So in the first verse, Bhagwan Mahavir's omniscience knowledge has been highlighted as Bhagwan Mahavir sees he can comprehend the whole universe at the same time, past, present, and future modifications all together in one moment. And he is illuminating the path of liberation. Just as substances in front of a mirror are reflected in it, in the same way, all animate means soul substance, and inanimate means non-soul objects. Okay. So all animate and inanimate objects, jiva, jiv, with their origination, utpad, disappearance, vyay. So origination is evolution, disappearance is extinction, and permanence is dravya, are at one and the same moment reflected in whose omniscience, and who is the seer and knower of the world, and illumines the path of spiritual perfection, just as the sun bestows its light on all the worldly paths. I implore means I pray that Lord Mahavir to stay in the path of my vision. Now this last line, Mahavir Swami Nayanapatagami Bhavatu me na. So this line has been repeated in each stanza. And what does it mean? So in English, it is written that I implore that Lord Mahavir, implore is pray, to stay in the path of my vision. Okay. To stay in the path of my vision means there are 4-5 meanings to this line, and we will understand that, so that in every paragraph this line is repeated. To stay in the path of my vision means very simple meaning, guide me. The second meaning is I will follow your path. And the third is let our eyes see them. And the fourth one is those who enter my heart. And the fifth one is feeling of being in my heart. So the bottom line is that whatever Bhagwan Mahavir has preached, that preachings, I should follow that preachings. That is the bottom line. Okay, so it has been expressed in many ways, but the meaning is same. That I just adhere to the path shown by Lord Mahavir and walk on that path. The second paragraph, this is written in Alankarik Bhasha. You know, different kinds of alankars are there in Hindi languages to beautify the language. As we have idioms and other things in English, similarly in Hindi, this Alankar Bhasha and Sanskrit also. Okay. So both of whose lotus eyes without glimmer means without blink. So Bhagwan Mahavir does not blink like we blink, you know. And redness. It is without blink and without redness. Without redness means he never gets angry. Whatever happens in the universe, he just remains an observer, and he is able to absorb and digest everything what is being reflected on his knowledge screen, which is omniscience, complete knowledge, full knowledge. So both of whose lotus eyes without blink and redness exposes to the humans the absence of external and internal passions like anger, etc. Etc. means all the 25 kinds of passion. Anger, pride, deceit, greed, then laughter, then liking, unliking, hasya, rati, arati, shok, bhay, fear. Bhay is fear. Shok would be surprise.
Grief, show
You are
grief.
getting any disturbance?
No.
No, sir.
Clear, no? It's clear to you,
Yes.
no?
So Shok would be grieving, no?
Shok would be grief, I think, no?
Yeah, grieving. Yeah, grief.
Grief, right. Shok would be grief. Then, so, hasya, rati, arati, shok, bhay. Bhay is fear. Jugupsa. Jugupsa is disgusting. Then Strived, Purusved, and Napunsakved. 3 types of sexual cravings. So all these are included in passions. So it is not only anger, but anger, etc. includes all the 25 kinds of passion. So the main 4 major passions are anger, pride. 1 minute, I am getting disturbed here. Yeah, now it is better. I'm in Sikharji now, so there is Navratri going on outside, and they're putting large loudspeakers. So it is good that I have taken this earphone with me, so you are not getting disturbed. That is good. So now, this both of whose lotus eyes without blink and redness, without glimmer and redness, expose to the humans the absence of external and internal passions. So what would be external passion and what would be internal passion? So the internal passions would be the karma, and the external passion would be the sentiments of anger, pride, and all that is being manifested. Okay. Whose appearance is utterly pure and calm. Whose means what? God's. Bhagwan Mahavir, Lord Mahavir. Appearance is utterly pure and calm. So he's knowing all the universe, what is happening, what has happened in the past, and what will happen on the future. He knows all as if it is in the present. Okay. Still, he is utterly pure and calm. So in the 12th stage of spiritual development, first Vitrakta gets manifested, complete passionlessness. Okay. And then Sarvagnata, omniscience knowledge. So it is good, no? Once you are Vitragi, then even if you are knowing everything, you don't manifest attachments and aversion. Okay. So it is always like this. 12th stage, you attain complete passionlessness. So all the passion has been wiped out. So now even if you are knowing everything, even you know that your kids, your parents, your spouse, all are being reflected on your screen, what they were before, what will happen to them in future. Still, you'd never develop a feeling of attachment and aversions to them. And he is utterly pure and calm. Such a good thing you can see. We all possess these qualities, you know. Even the Nigodia ji, one sense being also possess similar quality. Okay. Only thing, we need to manifest it. And once we manifest it, we will get rid of all kinds of grief, sorrow, miseries, nothing. Only pure eternal bliss. And that is what Bhagwan Mahavir has achieved. I implore thee, O Lord Mahavir, to stay in the path of my vision. So this is the second one. The third one, both of whose lotus feet are illuminated with the brilliance of the gems of the crowns of the Lord of the heavenly beings. So Indra is the Lord of heavenly beings, and there are many heavens, so there are many Indras. Okay, each heaven is having one Indra, and uh, gems of the crown that Indra wears, and with that gems, both of whose lotus feet are illuminated. So this is the special quality that Lord Mahavir had because of his samosaran and since he was a Tirthankar, that's why. So who pacifies? Pacifies means calm the anger. Who pacifies the flame of the fire of agonies of the creatures of this world. So Bhagwan Mahavir does anything? It's written over there that he pacifies the flames of the fire of agonies of the creatures of this world. Now, how it is possible that Bhagwan Mahavir will pacify the angers of the worldly people? So how it is? Then why it is written like that? So this is the language that last week only we studied, that there you have to interpret the instruction correctly to get the right knowledge. Now, if somebody reads this and he doesn't understand the style of giving Updesh, okay, then he will see, oh, Lord Mahavir does this. But in actually, Lord Mahavir does not do this, but people who follow his preachings automatically wipes out their own passions, and this is the result of their devotion. Okay, so by devotion means the understanding that they have developed. Okay, so who pacifies the flames of the fire of agonies of the creatures of this world by his remembrance only. Just chant the name of Bhagwan Mahavir and automatically your sentiments keep changing. You know, you get better and better. So these are all cause and effect relationship. Okay, there is no doer and enjoyer relationship, but it's only a cause and effect relationship. So Bhagwan Mahavir is the nimit, cause, instrumental cause, and the effect is the sentiments that we develop in our own modification. By his remembrance only, like water. Okay, so as water washes off all the dirts, similarly the divine sound of Bhagwan Lord Mahavir, it pacifies the flames of fire of agonies, all the fire of agonies, sorrow, misery of the creatures of the world by his remembrance only. Okay, so by his remembrance only means following the instructions given by Lord Mahavir. So if you follow the instructions given by Lord Mahavir and other Tirthankars and the total group of Dev Shastra Guru, then automatically your manifestation changes. That is the meaning. I implore that perfection incarnate Lord Mahavir to stay in the path of my vision. So Bhagwan Lord Mahavir, you always guide me and let me follow your footsteps. Now fourth and fifth, two at a time. Okay. So Madhuji could join. Yeah, Madhuji, you only read.
Yeah, I just joined, sir. It's the
Okay.
fifth one, no?
Yeah, fourth one.
Okay, fourth. This Sanskrit also we have to read. Yeah, that
If you can read Sanskrit, you read. No problem.
it may be a little difficult. यदर्चा भावेन प्रभु दित मना दर्द रही है शना शनादासी शनादासित स्वर्गी गुण गण समृद्ध सुख निधि लंबते सदभक्ता शिव सुख समाजम किमुत्तादा महावीर स्वामी नयन पथगामी भवतु मे. Now, when a frog, happy with the eagerness to worship, whose lotus feet was blessed with all the wealth, bliss, and comforts of heavenly life, just in a moment, there is no wonder if his devotees achieve that all-pervading happiness of the supreme state of our being. That is, they will certainly achieve that. I request you, O Lord of the three worlds, to stay in the path of my vision. Kanatsvarna bhaso pya bhaktat तत्नुर्ज्ञान निवहो विचित्रामाण्ये माप्ये माप्ये कोनृत पतिवर सिद्धाचार्य नये अजन्मपि श्रीमान विगत भव रागे रागोद रागोदभूत गति महावीर स्वामी नयन पथगामी भवतु मे. From the intrinsic point of view, you who are just a mass of sentience and eternally without physical frame, though possessing a shining, pure gold-like body, all the substances with their multifarious modifications are being reflected in whose sentience, as such, who is one indivisible and many at one and at the same time, who was unborn and yet was the son of Maharaj Siddhartha, who is devoid of all the attachments of the worldly existence, and yet is associated with perfect consciousness and the wealth and luxuries of the religious congregation that is called the Samosaran. I implore thee, an abode of countless wonders, Lord Mahavir, to stay in the path of my vision. Thank you. Further, I'll read further, sir.
No. Two is okay.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
there is a story
Thank
in
you, sir.
Pratman Yoga that this frog, frog, he had this feeling to do go to the Samosaran and do the darshan of Lord Mahavir. And he started off. Now, it will take so much of her time to reach there. But because he had this feeling, bhavna, reflections, that he wants to go to Samosaran and attend the Samosaran and listen to the divine voice of Lord Mahavir. So he just started, and there was a king going on the way and sitting on his elephant. Okay. So the moment this frog jumped on the path, that elephant's leg put on him and he died there. And because of his feeling of going to the Samosaran, he became a heavenly being.
Oh.
And he immediately reached the Samosaran in a moment only. So here he died, his life ended as a frog. He got born as a heavenly being, and from there he went to Samosaran in a moment. And the king was still on the path. So he went before the king could reach there. So such is the power of your manifestations, of your feeling, of your sentiments. Okay, that is what they want to depict here. So when a frog happy, so he was so glad that he wants to go to Samosaran and attend Mahavir Swami's Samosaran. Okay, so he was so glad and happy. So when a frog happy with the eagerness to worship, whose lotus feet was blessed with all the wealth, bliss, and comforts of heavenly life just in a moment, there is no wonder if his devotees achieve that all pervading happiness. What is this all pervading happiness? The bliss of liberation, getting liberated. Okay. Devotees achieve that all pervading happiness, infinite happiness of the supreme state of our being. That is, they will certainly achieve that. Okay. So it has been compared with a frog's example, that even if a frog with just the worship of Lord Mahavir attains wealth, bliss, and comforts of heavenly life in just a moment, there is no wonder if his devotees achieve that liberation, okay, and become a supreme being. And there is no wonder about that, and that is they will certainly achieve that. So one who follows in the footsteps of Lord Mahavir, one who follows his preaching, one who abides by his instructions, definitely gets liberated. And that's why we are all studying, just because we know that whatever our Tirthankar has said, it's all very true. And if we follow his instructions, we will also become happy. There is no doubt about that. Even in maybe you've been studying this for say last 7-8 months, and you could see the changes in your life, what your life earlier it was and what it is now, and how it is going to get better over a period of time. And after 5 years, you will be able to teach also. That much, if you study seriously, that much knowledge you will acquire, and that much your decision making power will also improve. That you will not only convince yourself, but you will be able to convince others to follow this path. That is the power of understanding, nothing else. So people who follows the path of Lord Mahavir will definitely get liberated. I request you, O Lord of the three worlds, to stay in the path of my vision. Okay. The next is, oxymoron figures of speech. In grammars, as I said, in Hindi it is called Virodhabhas Alankar. Opposites. Okay. So here we will see 3-4 opposites in the same line. Okay. And this is a way of expressing the importance of those concepts. Now the first one, from the intrinsic point of view, means from the real point of view, inherent point of view, you are just a mass of sentience, Gyan Shariri. Mass of sentience. Sentience means knowledge, Gyan Shariri. And externally without physical frame. So Bhagwan Mahavir has got liberated, and now he is internally a mass of sentience. Okay, Gyan Sariri, there is nothing else, no body, no karmas, nothing. And externally he is without body. Okay, so he has got liberated, so there is no body attached to his soul now. So externally he is without body, and internally he is a mass of sentience. So both are opposites. On one side we are saying that you are a mass of sentience, means you are a body of sentience, and other side we are saying that you are without physical frame, that is without body. So this is called oxymoron figures of speech. Externally without physical frame, though possessing a shining pure gold like body. Okay, so this body of sentience is pure gold like shining body. Okay, so this is the first one. Then the second one, all the substances with their multifarious modification are being reflected in whose sentience. So Bhagwan Mahavir's sentience is omniscience knowledge, and in that omniscience knowledge, all the substances and their various modifications are being reflected. As such, who is one indivisible. So he is Abhed and Akhand, okay, indivisible, and many at one and the same time. So I'll just see the Hindi one. So अनेक ज्ञेय उनके ज्ञान में झलकते हैं. So there are many knowables reflecting in his knowledge, omniscience knowledge. अतः विचित्र अनेक होते हुए भी एक है. So he is अनेक. अनेक means many. He is many in what sense? That many knowables are reflecting in his omniscience knowledge. But having so many objects being reflecting in his omniscience knowledge, he is one and indivisible. Okay, ek and akhand. So on one side, he's saying that there are many unknowables being known in his knowledge. On the other side, he's saying that he is one and akhand. Indivisible. Akhand is indivisible. The third one, who was unborn and yet was the son of Maharaj Siddhartha. So on one side, he is saying that ajanma, unborn. And the other side, he is saying that he is the son of Maharaja Siddhartha. So you could see that one part is the real point of view and the other part is the conventional point of view. So from the conventional point of view, he was the son of Lord King Siddhartha. Okay, Bhagwan Mahavir, Siddhartha and Trishla's son. And on the other side, it is being said who was unborn. So as a soul, we are all unborn. Soul never dies. Soul is there always. It is just the body that gets changed. Okay. So in that sense, he is unborn. And from the conventional point of view, he was the son of Maharaja Siddhartha. Fourth, who is devoid of all the attachments of the worldly existence. Okay, who is devoid of all the attachments of the worldly existence, and yet is associated with perfect consciousness and the wealth and luxuries of the religious congregation that is called Samosharan. Okay, so from one side it is being said that Keval Gyan, omniscience knowledge, and Samosharanadi Lakshmi, religious congregation, he is with those attachments. Okay. On the other side, he is saying that sansar ke raag se rahit hai. Okay. So he is devoid of all the attachments of the worldly existence. So with 4 examples, they have shown the opposites. Okay. So one aspect is from the real point of view, other is from the conventional point of view, and that is how Lord Mahavir is like that. इस प्रकार के आश्चर्यों के निदान, I implore thee, and an abode of countless wonders. Okay, so this Lord Mahavir is having countless wonders to stay in the path of my vision. So Lord Mahavir, guide me on this path. Now, next two, that is the 7th and the 8th one. Soumya Nayak.
So 7 and 8 one.
Yeah.
Won't it be 6 and 7, sir?
Sorry. 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Sorry. 6 and 7. Yadiya.
गंगा विविध नय कल्लोल विमला बृहज ज्ञानाम्भोभिर जगति जनतां यास्नपयति इदानीमप्येषा बुद्ध जनमरालये परिचिता महावीर स्वामी नयन पथगामी भवतु मे. The Ganges of whose divine voice is perfectly pure on account of the surging waves of relativity, and who always invites the living beings of this world to bathe in the fathomless stream of whose omniscience, with which all the swan-like learned souls are even now acquainted. I implore the Lord of the Lords Mahavir to stay in the path of my vision. अनिर्वारोद्रेक त्रिभुवनजयी काम सुभटा कुमारावस्थायामपि निज बलाद्यन् विजिता स्फुरन्नित्यानन्द प्रशम पदराज्याय सजना महावीर स्वामी नयन पथगामी भवतु मे. Who by his soul force alone in his boyhood conquered the god of passions, whose force is irresistible, and who has won all the 3 worlds, consequently who has become the sovereign of eternal happiness and everlasting vitality. I implore thee, O Bhagwan Mahavir, to stay in the path of my vision.
So in the 6th one, the Ganges of those divine voice, Jinki Vani Rupi Ganga. So his voice, his divine sound is being compared to river Ganga. Okay, is perfectly pure on account of the surging waves of relativity. Nai Rupi Kalolo. Okay, so if the water is still, it gets dirty, okay, and impure. And if it keeps on flowing, it remains always pure. Similarly, the divine voice of Lord Mahavir, on account of the surging waves of relativity, and who always invites the living beings of this world to bath in the fathomless. Fathomless means extremely deep stream of whose omniscience, with which all the swan-like learned souls are even now acquainted. So his divine voice is been appreciated here, that Bhagwan Mahavir's divine voice, divine sound is such that it's so pure on account of the surging waves of relativity, and who always invites the living beings of this world to bath. Bath means स्नान करना. स्नान कराती रहती है ना? So what kind of bath in what? Fathomless stream of whose omniscience. Extremely deep stream of whose omniscience. So in this knowledge, how the people will bath in the knowledge of Lord Mahavir? So it is again a kind of language that is being used, and uh, the meaning would be that his divine voice is such that if people understand that, they will themselves be so happy and enjoying eternal bliss from their own soul, that Bhagwan Mahavir will become just an instrumental cause. They will do everything on its own. And when they do it, Lord Mahavir would be considered a instrumental cause in that. So that is the way this language has been written over here. And in present time also, there are still learned souls who are still spreading his messages of whatever he has preached in his divine sound. Okay. So still we have learned souls, and we may not have monks right now, true monks, but still we have learned souls who are on the fourth stage and fifth stage, and who are taking this movement of spreading Jainism towards ignorant souls, and they are still there and they are doing their job. I implore thee, O Lord of the Lords, Mahavir, to stay in the path of my vision. So whoever wants to get ahead in the path of liberation, there are Jinvanis available, and there are learned scholars also available. You have to just identify them and follow their instructions and understanding. The seventh one, who by his soul force alone, nothing else works in the path of liberation. Our own soul force, okay? Who by his soul force alone in his boyhood means in his youth. So Bhagwan Mahavir took Diksha at the age of 30. Yeah. So Bhagwan Mahavir initiated into monkhood at the age of 30. Okay. He was a prince of King Siddharth, and he left all those kingdom and everything and thought that let's go to the jungle and follow the path of Bhagwan Mahavir. Not Mahavir, he was himself, but he followed this, the path shown by previous Tirthankars. Okay. So who by his soul force, so soul force is the only one factor that takes you ahead in the path of liberation. Everyone has his own soul force. Everyone has this quality of energy in it. And through that quality of energy, everyone through his own soul force conquers the passion. Okay. So Bhagwan Mahavir at a very young age, he never got married and started this worldly life, but he conquered these passions, okay? Conquered the god of passions, whose force is irresistible. Whose force is irresistible? irresistible Bhagwan Mahavir's force, Bhagwan Mahavir's soul's force, okay? And who has won all the three worlds. Who has won all the three worlds means he has reduced the attachments of all the three worlds, and that is what we mean by who has won all the three worlds. Nothing, doesn't get attracted to any of the knowables that he can see, you know. Supreme by his sheer knowledge, omniscience knowledge. Consequently, who has become the sovereign of eternal happiness. So, consequently, so later on, who has become the sovereign of eternal happiness. Saswat Sukh, okay? And Anant Sakti ka Samrajya, infinite qualities, okay? He possesses infinite qualities. Everyone possesses infinite qualities, but Lord Mahavir has manifested in the modification, okay? And everlasting vitalities. So everlasting vitalities, the infinite attributes. I implore thee, O Bhagwan Mahavir, to stay in the path of my vision. Keep guiding me. So this was the seventh one. Now the eighth one and the concluding, these two. Payal, you will be able to read? If you can't read Sanskrit, it's okay. You can just read the English one.
Okay, I'll read English. Who is selfless physician to conquer the terrible disease of delusion? Who is a selfless brother to all the living beings? The world is acquainted with whose grandeur? Who is an instrument for the welfare of all without any distinction? Who is a refuge to the monks, who are frightened with their wanderings of the worldly existence, that mass of all the good and great attributes of life, God Mahavir, pray stay in the path of my vision. Whosoever recites or hears this Mahavir Shatak written with great reverence by poet Bhagchand attains supreme bliss.
So who is a selfless physician? Since he has conquered all the passions, so there is no desire, he is selfless. Okay, who is a selfless physician to conquer the terrible disease of delusion? So delusion is the terrible disease, and Lord's preachings is the selfless physician. Okay, who is a selfless friend, not brother, but friend to all the living beings of this universe. So he has compassion to all the living beings of this universe, and he wants to preach just one thing, that you are God yourself and become God one. Okay? You are God yourself and become God in the modification. That is his preaching in short. The whole world is acquainted with whose grandeur. Okay, he's so famous, he's so important, his preachings are so important. Everyone is fascinated by his preachings. Who is an instrumental for the welfare of all, Mangal. Okay, so he is looking at the welfare of all without any distinction, whether you are a king or a beggar, there is no distinction. He gives one type of message to all the beings of this universe, that you are yourself God. Just believe it. You are yourself a God. Just believe it. And if you believe it, you become God in the modification also. So by nature, each and every soul is God. Okay. But in the modification, the one who accepts this doctrine and follow on the footsteps of Bhagwan Mahavir's preaching, becomes a God in the modification also. Okay. So by nature, we are all God. But in the modification, we have to put in the right efforts according to the instructions of Lord Mahavir, and we will become a God also in the modification. So he is instrument for the welfare of all without any distinction, who is a refugee to the monks. Consider, monks also look at Bhagwan Mahavir for guidance. So he is a refugee, he is a support to the monks. Okay, and not only monks, all the other devotees also, who is a refugee to the monks who are frightened with their wanderings of the worldly existence. So these monks realizes that there is nothing that we are going to get out of our wanderings in this worldly existence. Let's get liberated. And when they think of getting liberated, Bhagwan Mahavir acts as a support to all of them, because they want to get rid of all their passions and they also want to get liberated. And that's why they have initiated themselves into the monkhood. Okay. So he is a refugee, one who is a refugee to the monks who are frightened with their wanderings of the worldly existence. That mass of all the good and great attributes of life. God, Mahavir, pray, stay in the path of my vision. So they are very fearful of the worldly existence. Who? The monks. Okay. And so they take refuge in the Lord Mahavir's preaching. And Lord Mahavir possesses infinite qualities. Okay. All the supreme qualities. He is a mass of all the good and great attributes of life. So Bhagwan Mahavir has manifested by taking shelter in his soul, and we also should take shelter in our soul, and we will also manifest all the qualities, just like Mahavir. Okay, so that was the 8th one, and the conclusion. Conclusion, Bhakchandji writes in the last 2 lines that whosoever recites or hears this Mahavir Ashtak, Ashtak means 8. So there are 8 stanza. So it is called Mahavir Ashtak. Okay. So whosoever recites or hears, either you read it or you listen. Okay. Written with great reverence by poet Bhakchand. So poet Bhakchand had a very inclined feeling towards Lord Mahavir, and because of that feeling only, he could write such a good poem. Attains supreme state of existence. It's written here, attains supreme bliss. And who attains supreme bliss? Who attains liberation. So ultimately, the message is to get liberation at the earliest. And because we want to get liberated, we are also doing this prayer for our own development. So this was all about Mahavir Ashtak. If you have any questions, we can take up. Otherwise, we will move on to the next chapter, which is chapter number 4. No, 3, sorry. Merits and demerits. So 2 we did and 1 we did. And now we will start with merits and demerits. Merits is punya, demerits is pap. It is also called, merits is also called virtues, and demerits is called sins. It is also called auspicious and inauspicious sentiments. Okay. So there are different names. Merits and demerits is not the ideal name, but still we will take it. And the ideal would be virtues and sins, or auspicious and inauspicious. Auspicious is Shubh Bhav, inauspicious is Ashubh Bhav. Okay. So these 2 elements are part of influx only. It's a subdivision of influx and bondage. So when we study 7 fundamentals, these 2 are also included in the influx and the bondage element. So these 2 elements are very important because we are closely attached with it. Okay. And this has been discussed at length everywhere in every religion of Indian philosophies. But we will understand this in a very deep manner so that you are able to discard the sins and demerits and adapt merits and virtues. Okay. So we'll read from the beginning, first 3 paragraph, wherein the background is given and the definition of merits and demerits are given. Okay. So first 3 paragraph. Arunji, you read.
Okay, sir. The subject of merits and demerits as those of God and soul, bondage and emancipation, this world and the other, has been much talked of in the Indian philosophies. What are merits and demerits, and what place do they occupy in the path of liberation of the soul? The problem here is to discuss these in the context of Jain philosophy. Every period of Jain literature since the days of Acharya Kuntkund up to date has taken up in this question of merits and demerits and discussed in threadbare. Even today, it is the main subject of discussion. Controversy, however, is not in the definition of merits and demerits. In the path of it lies in their position in the path of liberation. Merits and demerits are both impure, internal behavior of the soul, worship of God, adoration of the monks, compassion, charity, abstinence, mortification, and other auspicious activities, etc., are termed as merits, and their fruition brings favorable associations. Violence, untruth, theft, indulgence in sex, and accumulation of possessions, etc., are called demerits, and they are instrumental to unfavorable association.
So the definitions are clear. So first, in the background, they started with the subject of merits and demerits at those of God and soul. So God is Atma and soul, supreme soul. In fact, they want to mean supreme soul is Paramatma. Okay. So the subject of merit, demerits, Atma, Paramatma, God and the supreme God, and soul and the supreme God. Okay, God is Paramatma and soul is Atma. Okay. So God and soul, and bondage and emancipation. Emancipation is liberation. Okay. So Bandh and Moksha. So Punya, Pap, Atma, Paramatma, Bandh, Moksha. Merits, demerits, soul and God, and bondage and liberation. This world and the other world, Lok, Parlok, has been much talked of in the Indian philosophy. So all philosophies, not only Jain philosophies, but all the other philosophies also talk and discuss about all these topics. What are merits and demerits, and what place do they occupy in the path of liberation of the soul? So we are not just going to discuss merits and demerits, but we are going to discuss merits and demerits in the context of the path of liberation. What is their place in the path of liberation? How merits are going to help us in the path of liberation? These are some of the questions that we are going to discuss today and find answers to that. Every period of Jain literature since the days of Acharya Kundev up to today has taken up these questions of merits and demerits and discussed it thoroughly. Even today, it is the main subject of discussion. Controversy, however, is not in the definition of merits and demerits. It lies in their position in the path of liberation. So whether merits helps in the path of liberation and demerits does not help in the path of liberation. So what is their actual position in the path of liberation? Okay, that is what we are going to discuss today. And first we will see the definition. So what is merits and what is demerits? First we will see that, and then subsequently we will be discussing its path in the path of liberation, its position in the path of liberation. And before that, we are going to discuss the definition of merits and demerits from various scriptures. So there are in total 8 references given in this 8 references. So what is the definition of merits and demerits? Merits and demerits first are both impure and internal behavior of the soul. So one thing is for sure, that merit is not pure and demerit is not impure, but both are impure. Okay, so this is the first thing that we should understand. Both are impure because both falls in the category of non-soul. Only soul is pure, baki everything is impure. So merits and demerits are also impure. And those are internal behavior of the soul. Means this kind of sentiments, merits and demerits, are being produced in the modification of the soul. Worship of God, adoration of the monks, compassion, Dev Puja, Guru Upasana, Daya, charity is Dan, abstinence is Vrat, mortification is Shil, and other auspicious activities. So all these are auspicious activities, and these are called merits. Okay. All the auspicious activities are called merit, are termed as merit, and their fruition, okay, and their fruitions brings favorable association. So whatever good association that we have got in this life, it is because of our past punya, okay, past merits, sentiments. Then we come to the definition of demerits. Violence, hinsa, untruth, jhoot, falsehood, theft, chori, indulgence in sex, kushil, and accumulation of possession. Parigrah, parigrah ka sanchay, okay, accumulation of possession, etc. All these are 5 sins, are called demerits, and they are instrumental to unfavorable association. So if you indulge in demerits, you will get all the unfavorable associations. Now, the next 3 paragraphs. Not 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. Okay. You read 4 paragraphs first, next 4 paragraphs. And Soumya, you read.
Ordinary men regard merit as good and demerit as bad. For one is born as a human or a heavenly being on account of his merits, and in health or animal phase due to demerits. They, however, do not realize that all the 4 phases of life are full of grief only. Happiness is not to be found in any of these phases. Pandit Daulat Ramji has declared in the first dhal of his Chedala that all the 4 phases of life are full of grief and miseries. It is clear from the text of reflection on renunciation that if there was any joy in all the 4 phases, why should the Tirthankars have left their household and adopted the path of renunciation? The founder of Shaman culture, the great Acharya Kund has held both merits and demerits as equal, both being instrumental to worldly existence, and has asked us to dissociate with them and not to have any attachment for them. He says, demerits are undesirable and merits are desirable. This is the belief of ordinary humans. But how can even merits be desirable that push creatures into worldly existence? Iron chains, as also gold chains, both deprive persons of their freedom. In the same way, merits as demerits, as well as demerits, push those beings in the lap of worldly existence. Do not associate with any of those, because if you associate with something undesirable, your freedom will be lost.
The next paragraph also, it is a conclusion of what's...
All auspicious modifications attract merit bondage and inauspicious ones demerit bondage. Bondage is bondage, be it merit bondage or demerit bondage. It only binds the soul, does not liberate it. Liberation can be had only in the absence of merits and demerits with pure detachment. As such, merits and demerits play only a negative role in the path of liberation of the soul.
So you see, we have read about 3 references. Okay. So first one was Pandit Daulat Ramji in Chhe Dala has declared in the first dhal of his Chhe Dala that all the 4 phases of life Now, what is this 4 phases of life? These are char gati, 4 state of existence. Okay. All the 4 phases of life are full of grief and miseries. Okay. Although we consider the human life as most invaluable, but it has got its own sorrows and grief. Okay. So all the 4 phases of life are full of grief and miseries. So this is the first reference of Pandit Daulat Ramji from Chedala. Okay. So very elaborately explained what kind of miseries this soul undergoes in each of the state of existence, whether it is a heavenly being or a human being or a subhuman state or hellish being. Okay, all these 4 gatis are full of grief and miseries. So this is the first reference. The second reference starts, it is clear from the text of the reflection on renunciation, Vairagya Bhavna. Okay, Vairagya Bhavna by Kavi Budhar Das ji. Okay, by Kavi Budhar Das ji. He says that if there was any joy in the all 4 phases, why should the Tirthankar have left their household and adopted the path of renunciation? If happiness was there, they would have remained there. But they, Tirthankar, Chakravarti, Kamdev, all these big personalities, okay, they renounced all their possessions, wealth, household, queens, kids, everything, and adopted the path of renunciation. They went to the jungle and initiated into monkhood. Why? Because that is the only way to become happy. Nobody had become happy with the help of possessions. This is a fact. Because happiness is an attribute of the soul and it could be manifested only when we take refuge to the soul. And if we want to take refuge into the soul and further concentrate on it, then we must renounce all these worldly existence, our house, our family, our wealth, our business, everything. Because to become happy, you don't require anything. Because happiness is our birthright. You know, Bal Gangadhar Tilak said that give me, no, what he said? स्वतंत्रता हमारा जन्मसिद्ध अधिकार है, right? Independence is our birthright. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose said, give me blood, I will give you freedom. And our acharyas, Kunkundev and Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev and the other galaxy of acharyas tells us that give yourself time and become God, right? Because that is what you are meant for. That should be your objective in life, to not to settle anything than Godhood. And this is the potential that each soul carries. And this potential can be realized if we take refuge in our soul. And for taking refuge in our soul, we have to understand the principles. Okay. The 7 fundamentals very clearly, and then apply in our day-to-day life so that we will get right belief, then consequently we will develop omniscience knowledge and then get liberated. The third reference is of Acharya Kunkunudev from Samaisar, the founder of Saman culture. Saman is what? Monk. Saman means monk. Okay. So the founder of Saman culture, the great Acharya Kund has held both merits and demerits as equal. So as equal in what way? In the path of liberation. As far as path of liberation is concerned, both are equal. Okay. So only from that perspective, merits and demerits are considered to be equal, because both binds the karma. And if you are binding karmas, you are not going to get liberated. Okay. So the founder of Shraman culture, the great Acharya Kund has held both merits and demerits as equal, both being instrumental to worldly existence. okay, and has asked us to dissociate with them and not to have any attachment for them, okay. So this merits and demerits keeps on changing in our modification from time to time, okay. No merits, even the merits cannot stay beyond 48 minutes constantly, and demerits also don't stay constantly for 48 minutes. They keep on changing every 48 minutes, okay. So frequency could be very less also, but maximum is what? 48 minutes. They cannot go beyond 48 minutes. So this keeps on changing. So both are equal because both are binding new karmas and both are a cause of our worldly existence. Both being instrumental to worldly existence and asked us to dissociate with them. Dissociate with them means don't indulge in them. Not to have any attachment for them. Okay. Because if we develop an attachment with them, we will be binding new karmas. And that's how our worldly existence will prolong. Okay. So the person who wants to get liberated very soon, they should discard of getting refuge in the merits and demerits sentiments. He says demerits are undesirable and merits desirable. This is the belief of ordinary humans. Okay. The mundane humans, they believe that merits are beneficial and demerits are not beneficial. Merits are desirable and demerits are undesirable. But now, can even merits be desirable? That push creatures in worldly existence. So how could it be desirable? The one that pushes you to worldly existence, the one that increases your karmic bondage, the one that takes you into the four states of existence. How can it be desirable? Okay. So this was verse number 145, Samay Sarji Granth. Now coming on to the 146 verse number. Iron chains are also gold chains. Okay. So chain is a chain, whether it is made of gold or it is made of iron. Both does the same function of binding the human being. Okay. So how could we say that gold chain is good and the iron chain is not good? How we can say? Because both are binding us. So how can one be good and other be bad? Iron chains as also gold chains both deprive persons of their freedom. They are binding us. They are depriving us of our freedom. Our nature is of freedom, but they are depriving us of our freedom. So how could they be good? In the same way, merits as demerits push those belongs to in the lap of worldly existence. Okay, whether it is a merit sentiment or a demerit sentiment, both pushes us in the worldly existence.
So just a question.
Hmm.
Hello.
Go ahead.
So just a question.
Yeah.
So there is a question. These the merits, they say Dev Puja, Guru Upasana is their merits, right? So
Yeah,
we should not even indulge in these merits.
They are instrumental in merits, that's all. Okay, they are instrumental in merits. Those sentiments are merit sentiments only, auspicious sentiments only. Right. Okay. Next part of your question.
But they say we should not indulge in merits.
Right. So
No, they say we should not indulge in merits.
Yes. So if you don't, so now I will just give you the logic behind this, that there are three kinds of sentiments: merits, demerits, and pure. Okay. So you have two options only. One is pure and one is impure. Okay. Merits and demerits are both impure sentiments that we read in the second paragraph itself. Okay. 1 minute. Where we have read? Third paragraph, first line. Merits and demerits are both impure. Internal
Yeah, it's
behavior
in the third
of this.
paragraph, first sentence.
Yeah, so both are impure, right? So now if you don't indulge in merits, okay, then either you have to go to the pure sentiment, okay, manifest the pure sentiment. Otherwise, you will go to demerit. Okay, there are three options only: merit, demerit, and pure. So if you are going to the pure, okay, then you should not indulge in merit. If you have the ability to go and get into the pure sentiments, then you should not indulge in merits. But if you are not able to go to the pure sentiments, your efforts are not that powerful to take you to the pure sentiments, then if you leave the merit sentiments, then you will automatically get into demerit. So compared to demerit, merit is good. But when we talk of path of liberation, so path of liberation is pure sentiments. Okay. So when we consider pure sentiments, then merits are also not worth indulging. Because when we indulge in merit, we bind karmas. But when we indulge in pure sentiments, when we manifest pure sentiments, no karmas, no new karmas are bound. On the contrary, all the old karmas that we have bound earlier, that gets detached. Okay.
Yes.
So if you are going to the pure sentiments, then you discard merits. But if you are not able to go to the pure, then if you discard merit, then you will get into demerit, and demerit will take you to further downfall in spiritual development. Okay. So this you should keep in mind, because we are discussing merits and demerits in the context of path of liberation. So in that context, both are equal. We should not indulge in both of them. Both are demerits. Okay. Any other questions? Now 146. Iron chains are also gold chains. Both deprive persons of their freedom. In the same way, merits as demerits push those beings in the lap of worldly existence. So both are same. One is an iron chain, another is a gold chain. But both deprives persons of freedom. Okay. So both are same in that context when we want to get freedom from this worldly existence. Okay. So if we want to get freedom for worldly existence, we should take shelter in our soul and manifest pure sentiments. And if we manifest pure sentiments, no new karma will be bound. The old one will get detached, and this soul will get liberated in short time. The third one, verse number 147. So we discussed 145, we discussed 146, and now the 147. Do not associate it with any of those. Any of those means merits or demerits. Do not associate it. Because if you associate with something undesirable, your freedom will be lost. Don't contact with them. Don't indulge in them. They are reflecting on your knowledge screen, both punya and pap. But don't indulge in them. Because if you indulge in them, if you make contact with them, your freedom will be lost. You will bind new karmas. Okay. So it is best advisable not to indulge in merits and demerits, although it will come according to the spiritual development stage that we are having. Okay. According to the stages of spiritual development that we are having right now. So the merits will also appear, demerits will also appear, but never indulge in those two. Okay. On the contrary, practice discriminative knowledge and engrossed in yourself, in your own soul. That is the path of liberation. Now the conclusion of these three verse 145, 146, 147 of Samay Sarji. All auspicious modification attract merit bondage and inauspicious ones demerit bondage. Bondage is bondage, be it merit bondage or demerit bondage. It only binds the soul, does not liberate it. Liberation can be had only in the absence of merits and demerits. With pure detachment, okay, with pure sentiments, with pure detachment. As such, merits and demerits play only a negative role in the path of liberation of the soul. So we are discussing here merits and demerits in the context of the path of liberation. And in that context, both are playing a negative role. Both are a cause of hindrances to get into the path of liberation. Okay? So you should understand it. So when you are falling, get intentionally into merit bondage. Okay? When you are getting down and down, getting to the lower category, okay, then cling on to merit bondage. But when you want to go to the pure modification, okay, when you want to manifest the pure modification, then at that point merit is also undesirable. You should not indulge in merit. Okay, so you have to understand the balance. It is not always that merit bondage is uh, not beneficial, but in some cases when you want to, when your sentiments are falling down, okay, you are getting into uh, passions and all kinds of vices and all things, then at that point of time getting into a married bondage is good for you. Okay, so married bondage has got its own importance. Although when we consider the path of liberation, married bondage is undesirable, but when we consider that we are falling down and down, then at that point of time married bondage is quite helpful for us to get into the remain in the path. Okay, nobody has ever traversed to pure sentiments from demerits. Okay, always merits come in between. So from demerits to merit, because demerits is intense passion and merit is mild passion. So from intense to mild and mild to pure passions. Okay, so this is the way. So merit will come in between, but you should not get satisfied with merit bondage. That is the message they want to convey. Maltiji, it does not mean that you leave the merit activities, okay,
Yeah,
auspicious activities.
yeah.
You understand in right perspective that is merit perspective, these merits will also bind us, and so we should not be satisfied by just following the rituals, doing pujas, doing vrat and all. Okay, we should never get satisfied with those activities, although those activities are part of path of liberation. Okay, they come into the path of liberation, but we should not uh, limit ourselves to that activity. We should go beyond that activity, practice discriminative knowledge, and
Swadhyaya will be pure.
Swadhyaya is also a
Swadhyaya
merit
will be
activity.
pure.
No, Swadhyaya is also a merit activity. Okay, is an auspicious activity. But while doing Swadhyaya, if you are able to connect to your soul, then it becomes a pure sentiment. So Swadhyaya means in real terms, Swa ka Adhyay. Swa means myself, own Adhyay means study. So it's our own study that we do in Swadhyay. So if it is that way, then it manifests pure bondage, pure modification. But if it is just auspicious activity, then it will bind auspicious karmas. Okay. So now we come on to the fourth reference. Yogindu Dev writes in Yogsar in this context, Gatha number 32. And see 71 also. Okay, 32 and 71. Both it is the verse on merits and demerits. What Yogindu Dev has to say about merits and demerits. Okay, so fourth, then the next one is Pujyapat Swami. Then again Acharya Kunkund Swami. Then seventh one is Ashtapahud, Bhavpahud. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. You read 4 paragraphs. Who is left over? Hemali.
Yes, sir. Yogendra Dev writes in Yogsar in this context. Merits lead to heavenly phase of life and demerits to hellish phase. One who knows the soul, leaving both these, attains complete liberation. Acharya Pujyapad has also given vent to the same idea in Samadhi Shatak. Acharya Kundkund very emphatically asserts meritorious inclinations towards others are merits, and demeritorious ones are like otherwise. The inclinations of the soul, not inclined towards any non self entity, are the instruments of the destruction of all unhappiness and attainment of liberation of the soul. Jain scriptures are very clear that abstinence, worship, rules of conduct, etc., are merits, and the manifestations without delusion and movements of body, mind, speech is religion. In Natak Samasar, both merits and demerits have been described.
Stop. Let me explain this one. Then the Natak Samaisa is given in very detail about these merits and demerits, and that we will do it in the next phase. So this one, Yogindu Dev, what he writes in Yogsar, merits leads to heavenly phase, Swarg of life, and demerits leads to hellish phase, okay, Narak. One who knows the soul living both these means merits and demerits, attains complete liberation. So this is one Yogindu Dev has written. In, I think, verse number 71, he says that पाप और द सीन, पाप को तो सब पाप कहते हैं, लेकिन पुण्य को भी पाप कहने वाले विरला होते हैं. Okay, so only the brave considers the auspicious sentiments as inauspicious. Okay, so all the ordinary beings says inauspicious as inauspicious. Okay, but there are some brave people only, virla, very rare people, who also considers auspicious as inauspicious sentiments, because both binds karmas, both takes you away from the path of liberation, so both are equal in the path of liberation. Okay, so that was 71. Now Acharya Pujyapad has also given vent to same ideas in Samadhi Shatak. So that is not here explained, and it is not explained in the Hindi text also, but I have referred Samadhi Shatak, and it also echoes the same sentiments that अव्रत से पाप होता है और व्रत से पुण्य होता है. So abstinence, in abstinence is sin and abstinence is merit. मोक्ष दोनों के व्यय से होता है. So liberation only happens when we discard both of them. जिस प्रकार मोक्षार्थी अव्रत को तजता है as a seeker, okay, as a seeker renounces the in abstinence, उसी प्रकार same way we should also renounce abstinence also. व्रत को भी तजना चाहिए. Okay, so this is the same thing. So it has not been given here or the Hindi text, but I have told you what is written in Samadhi Shatak. Now the sixth reference, Acharya Kundkund Dev, in the next paragraph, in Pravachan Sarji Gatha number 181. Write down the reference. Pravachan Sarji Gatha number 181, verse number 181. What Kundkundacharya says? Meritorious inclination towards others are merits, and demerits ones are otherwise. Otherwise means demerits. The inclination of the soul not inclined towards any non-self entity. The inclination of the soul not inclined towards any non-self entity are the instrument of the destruction of all unhappiness and attainment of the liberation of the soul. Okay. So the inclination of the soul not inclined towards any non-self entity. So this is a negative statement. So positive would be inclination of the soul inclined towards self. Okay. So when you take refuge in yourself, okay, you are you are manifesting all happiness and you will attain liberation. Okay. So the negative statement we have turned into positive. Okay. The inclination of the soul not inclines towards any non-self identity are the instrument of the destruction of all unhappiness. Okay. Okay. Are the instrument of the destruction of all unhappiness. So if you take refuge in your soul, you will destroy all happiness and attain liberation of the soul. That is all. The last reference, seventh one, then we will move on to Natak Samaisar. It is taken from Ashtapaud, and Ashtapaud has 8 different scriptures, and this is Bhavpaud. This is taken from Bhavpaud. Jain scriptures are very clear that abstinence, vrat, worship, puja, rules of conduct, shil, etc. are merits, and the manifestations without delusion and movements of body, mind and speech is religious. Okay. मोह और शोभ, ठीक है, मोह और शोभ रहित, मोह is delusion and shobh is charitra moh. Okay, moh is darshan moh and shobh is charitra moh. Okay, so this charitra moh is movements of body, mind and speech. Okay, so when we are devoid of these two, it is called religion. Similar things have been said in Pravachan Sarji, Gatha number 7. Okay, verse number 7 in Pravachan Sarji, same thing is said that moh or shobh rahit parinam dharma hai. Okay, so if you want to manifest dharma, you get rid of merits and demerits both and just take refuge in your soul, then you will be manifesting pure sentiments or religion or passionlessness or detachment. All means the same. Now we are coming on to the 8th references on the merits and demerits. Now when you study from 8 different acharyas and scholar from 8 different scriptures, you get clarity about the nature of merits and demerits in the path of liberation. Okay, so these cross references are given for that only, that you have to develop a faith in these statements. Okay, and faith comes only when we refer different scriptures. Okay, so every scriptures echoes the same ideas, and then our belief also comes in that, see, Acharya Kunkund has said it, Acharya Amrit Chandra says this, Acharya Yogendu Dev says this. So different scriptures, same things is being echoed. Okay, same sentiments, same ideas. So then we get a conviction that this is right, and that's where we take the decision. And when we consider both in the same category, okay, then there is a chance that we can manifest discriminative knowledge and get into take shelter into the soul, pure soul. So now we'll read Natak Samaisar. In Natak Samaisar, there are many words that has been referred. Number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 11, number 12, number 13. We will be reading one by one in due course. Okay. So first one is number 3. Okay. So 3 and 13. First two paragraphs we will read only. Okay. And Payal ji, you do it once again.
Oh, okay. 3 paragraphs?
2 paragraphs.
2.
In Natak Samaisar, from worldly point of view, only 2 paragraphs.
Okay. In Natak Samaisar, both merits and demerits have been described as twins born of a she-barbarian, and that the sentient beings should have no liking for any of the two. From worldly point of view, merits are said to be better than demerits, but in the path of liberation, both merits and demerits are obstructions.
Stop. So this was the first two, okay? Verse number 3 and verse number 13. 2 paragraphs and 2 verse. And then we will move on to the next one, that is the 5. So verse number 3, what it says, that 2 twins sons were born to a lady who is a barbarian by caste, Chandali, okay, very low caste. And he gave one of the sons to a Brahman. So one was brought up in a Brahman family and other was with her only. So the other was brought up in a barbarian family. So the one who was who was brought up in Brahman family, he never eat uh, alcohol, non-veg, nothing, because he was a Brahman. And the other one who was uh, who was brought up in a barbarian family, he ate uh, alcohol, he had non-veg foods and everything. Okay. So both are the sons of barbarian lady only, right? But since both were brought up in different atmosphere, both had different traits, both had different characters. But having different traits and characters does not make them different, because both are sons of barbarian only. Similarly, merits and demerits are both impure disposition, okay? And both are a cause of hindrances, cause of obstruction in the path of liberation. So the sentient being, the enlightened soul, the learned scholar, they have no liking to any of the two. They don't consider merits as good and demerits as bad. They consider both as obstructions to the path of liberation. So this was the first one. Okay. Eighth, Samaysar Natak, verse number 3. Then the next paragraph is verse number 32. Samaysar Natak only. Natak Samaysar. Natak Samaysar is written by Pandit Banarasi Das ji, based on Samaysar's Kalash, written by Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev, and its commentary written by Pandey Rajmal ji. Okay. Based on that, Natak Samaysar was written by Pandit Banarasi Das ji. So, in the verse number 13, he says, from worldly point of view, merits are said to be better than demerits. Malti ji, understood? From worldly point of view, merits are said to be better than demerits. But from the path of liberation point of view, both are equal. But in the path of liberation, both merits and demerits are obstructions. Both are cause of bondage. So they both are equal in the path of liberation. Okay. Now, based on this, Banarasi Das ji explained this further in verse number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12. And this conversation is between a student and his guru. Okay. So student had some doubts and he put forth his argument in the doubts, and his logic is that both merits and demerits are not equal. And why they are not equal? Because he has given 4 logics, and those 4 logics are causes, tests, nature, results. You make 3 columns. So first column you write causes, test, nature and results. And then the second column will include the students' doubts about these 4. Okay. And the third column will be Guru's solution to this doubt. Okay. So all things will be 4, 4, 4, 3 columns, each having a 4 components. The first component is causes. The second will be tests. Third will be nature. And the fourth would be results. Okay. I've made it in Hindi. I can share that, but you have to make it in English. Okay. So we will see that. Now we will read this. First paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, fourth paragraph. Okay. So this fourth paragraph will cover the whole chart. One is the argument of the student, then his logics behind that argument, and then the solution of the teacher. Okay. Student and teacher conversation is going on. And this is part of Samaysar Natak, Samaysar scripture. And this includes verse number 4, 5, 6. Okay, 4, 5, 6, then 7, 8, then 11, 12. Okay, so this much we will discuss from Natak Samaysar. Okay, so read the first 4 paragraphs. Hemali.
So from worldly point of view,
The great poet.
okay. The great poet Banarasi Das had presented the concepts of merits and demerits in a dialogue form between a teacher and a taught on the basis of the commentary of Acharya Amit.
And a student. And a student is missing. So
Yeah.
you write down student, comma, taught on the basis of the continue.
And a student on the basis of the commentary of Acharya Amrit Chandra named Atma Khyati on the holy treatise Samaysar by Kunkun Acharya Dev and the additional shlokas composed by him, which is as follows. A student tells his teacher that merits and demerits are not equal because their causes, tastes, nature, and results are different. Merits appear to be dear, while demerits unwholesome. Passionate manifestations lead to demerit bondage, and virtuous one to merit bondage. Thus, their causes are different. The fruition of demerit results in unhappiness, whose taste is bitter, and the fruition of merit results in happiness, whose taste is sweet. This way, there is difference of tastes in the two. Demerit manifestations are in themselves irritating to the soul, while the merit ones are pleasant. Thus, there is difference in their nature also. So, okay. Oh, something happened on my. Okay.
What happened?
Sorry. No, I thought I got disconnected. Sorry.
No.
Demerits lead to thus,
Unpleasant.
yes, sorry. Demerits lead to unpleasant phases of life, like the hellish, while merits to heavenly and other good phases. Thus, the difference as regards their result is also very clear. Why do you then call them equal? Teacher. In answer, the teacher tells the student that merit and demerit bondages both are obstructions in the path of liberation, and as such are equal. Good and bad phases of life are both in the worldly existence, and as such, there is no difference as regards result. Differences on account of causes, taste, nature, and result, in fact, do not exist. Non-sentient beings observe these differences on account of their wrong faith. Sentient beings do not recognize any differences. Merits and demerits are both dark wells. Both are instrumental to karmic bondage, and both are non-existent in the path of
Siddhood. You don't have a printout with you, Hemali? Textbook?
It's there, but it's in my office. It's in my
Achha.
office bag. Whenever I'm on the train, I keep it.
Okay, good.
I'll just open it again.
So
No.
last line is there. I am just reading the last line. Only absolute detachment is desirable in the path of soul's liberation. Okay. So here the ends. This is verse number 7. So first, the student's argument includes two words, fourth and fifth. Okay, verse number fourth and fifth. So what does this student says? Students tells his teacher that merits and demerits are not equal because they are causes. Number one point. Number two, tests. Number three, nature. And number four, results. So causes is karan, test is ras, nature is swabhav, and results means phal are different. Okay. So he gives this logic that since both are different, so they are not equal. Okay. Because they are different in terms of causes, in terms of tests, in terms of nature, and in terms of results. And he is going to prove that in the next paragraph. Merits appear to be dear while demerits unwholesome. Now the first logic. Passionate manifestation. Passionate manifestation means sanklesh parinam. Okay. Lead to demerit bondage. And virtuous one. Virtuous ones means vishuddh, shubha, to merit bondage. Okay. So causes are different. Number one. Demerits cause is passionate manifestations and merits cause is virtuous one. So both causes are different. Okay. This is the first logic. Thus, their causes are different. So this is the first part. So in the first column, you have written four causes, four parameters where we are going to compare the student's logic, the student's argument, and the teacher's solution. Okay. So these four parameters are causes, test, nature, and result. Now, under the sister's doubt, why he is saying that both are not equal, the first logic that is given is that passion causes are different. Demerit bondage, the cause is passionate manifestation, and for merit bondage, the cause is virtuous manifestations. Okay. Thus, their causes are different. Number two, now test. The fruition of demerit results in unhappiness whose taste is bitter. So when we become unhappy, our taste becomes bitter. We don't like it, unhappiness. And the fruition of merit results in happiness whose taste is sweet. We all like sweets, right? So the taste of happiness is what all people like. So the second parameter, test, these are different. One is a bitter taste, one is sweet taste. This way there is difference of tastes in the two. Now the third logic, nature. Demerit manifestations are in themselves irritating to the soul. Okay. So these are causing irritation. These are causing passionate manifestations. Okay. Irritating to the soul. Why merit ones are pleasant. So both nature is different. Okay. Demerits is causing irritation while merit's nature is pleasant. Everyone likes it. Thus, there is difference in their nature also. Now, fourth one. Fourth one is what? Results. Demerits lead to unpleasant phases of life like the hellish, okay, hellish and subhuman. And while merits leads to heavenly and other good phases, heavenly and human. So heavenly and human are considered to be merits, and hellish and subhuman state is considered to be demerit. Okay. So the results are also different. Thus the difference as regard their results is also very clear. Why then do you call them equal? Okay. This is argument of the student. Okay. Now the teacher will reply, and what the teacher has to give reply is very interesting and very logical also. We should understand it. Teacher says, in answer, the teacher tells the student that merit and demerit bondages are both are obstructions in the path of liberation and as such are equal. So if they are equal, the student has given four different logics. So are they all false? That now the teacher will explain. Good and bad phases of life. So this is the fourth one, right? Fourth one was what? Results. So demerits leads to unpleasant phases of life like hellish, while merits leads to heavenly and other good phases. So he rules out the first logic, the fourth logic first. Good and bad phases, sugati and kugati, okay, of life are both in the worldly existence. As such, there is no difference as regards result, because both leads to worldly existence. No, the merits one does not gets you liberated, so you are still there in the four phases of life. So the result is same. You are still in sansar. You have not you have not uh, clear the mundane existence. You are still a mundane existent, right? So both are worldly existence. As such, there is no difference as regards to results. Now, differences on account of causes, taste, nature, and result, in fact, do not exist. Non-sentient beings observe these differences. Non-sentient being means agyani, okay? Ignorant people. Non-sentient beings observe these differences on account of their wrong faith, wrong understanding, okay? Because of wrong understanding, they consider them as equal. In fact, the difference does not exist. They both are equal. Non-existent beings observe this difference on account of their wrong faith. Sentient beings, jnani, learned, right believer, do not recognize any difference. They consider both as them equal. Merits and demerits are both dark wells. Both are instrumental to karmic bondage, and both are non-existent in the path of siddhood, liberation. Okay, both are non-existent in the path of liberation. So when you get liberated, you discard both of them. Okay, only absolute detachment is desirable in the path of liberation. Okay, so now fourth one logic is already given, and the other three logics that we will see here. The second one, first we will see the cause. So in the cause, the student said that passionate manifests to leads to demerit bondage, and virtuous one leads to merit bondage. This was the argument that student had given. Okay. So the teacher says that demerit and merit both causes bondage, and both are an obstructions to the path of liberation. That's why they are equal. So cause is also discussed, and the fourth one, the result is also discussed. Now 2 and 3 are left. So what was the second argument given by student? About the test. Okay. So the fruition of demerit results in unhappiness whose taste is bitter, and the fruition of merit results in happiness whose taste is sweet. Now the teacher says, it is not given in the textbook, but you can write it down. Dono swad, both the tastes are modification of taste attribute. Okay, bitter taste and sweet taste, both are taste, both are modification of uh, taste attributes. Okay, and this taste attribute is where is the characteristics of which substance? Who will say? Taste attribute is a characteristic of which substance? Soul has taste? No. Then?
Matter substance.
Matter substance. So both are matter only. So where there is difference? There is no difference. Both are matter only. Whether you consider bitter taste or sweet taste, both are modification of taste attribute of matter substance. Therefore, both are equal. Now the third logic, nature. So in terms of nature, the student has argued that demerit manifestation are in themselves irritating to the soul, while merit ones are pleasant. Okay, so both nature are different. That is what student had said. Now the teacher said that irritation and pleasantness. Okay, irritation and pleasantness both are impure disposition. Okay, both are impure disposition. That's why they are equal. Sanklesh is Ashubh Bhav, mild Sanklesh is intense passions, and Vishuddha Bhav is mild passions. So after all, they both are impure disposition, they both are passions. So both are equal, both are binding karmas, right? So so all the logics have been given. So you have to note down the second and third logic. It is not printed here. It is there in the Hindi version. If you check the Hindi version, both are given. So pains and pleasures are both toxic emotions. So they are equal, and bitter and sweet taste are creation of matter. So they are equal. So these two logic you have to write down, and you have to prepare a chart. Okay. So next week, you just prepare this chart. First would be the four parameters: the causes, taste, nature, and results, then students' argument and logic, and then teacher's solution. Okay. So this is where we end today with this homework. This is an optional homework, not a compulsory homework. You can prepare a chart for your own good and share in the group. Okay. Or you can share me personally, so that I will share it on next day, next Saturday, the class day. Okay. So others will also try. So everyone will get a scope to try yourself and send me personally. And then of course I will be sending it in the group in next Saturday itself, morning time. So you can all see each other's creation. Okay. So this is all. We end here today. Our time is over. And in fact, I started class 5 minutes late. So we are closing also in time. But next class, I will be uh, starting the right time. Today, I'm sorry for that. And then we will continue this discussion. So now this logic has been, this conversation between the student and teacher will go on. So student will give further logics. And lastly, the student will agree to the teacher's logic. Okay. And that's where we will end the discussion on this merits and demerits in this textbook. Then I will add something else on my own, which will give you a new dimension to merits and demerits. Okay. So that is very important, that we will discuss the next class. Okay. Okay. Anything, questions? I hope everyone is completing their assignments. Only 6-7 people have completed the assignments. So rest also you complete. This time I am not doing any giving you any punishment, but next time you have to complete on time. Okay. Everyone, each and everyone, one assignment is due on 18th, I suppose, right? One is due on 11th GM, and one is due on 18th. Now everything has been clarified. Okay. So now you complete at the earliest. If you have any problem, genuine problem, you let me know. I will help you out. Okay. But complete out on time. Okay. So you can contact me anytime, and I'll be pleased to help you. Yeah. Madhurji, you want to say something? Unmute yourself.
Oh, sir, regarding this Das Lakshan, what is the introduction? I didn't get it, sir. Introduction and
First chapter.
Samavani.
First chapter.
So we have taken it from Vitrag Vigyan 3, right?
No.
Das Lakshan. Then
There is a different book for Das Lakshan Dharma. You have not received it.
no, I don't have, sir. I don't have.
So it is written by Dr. Bharilji. I will send the PDF. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
And you are based in Indore, no?
No, Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay.
Yeah.
So there also you will get it somewhere in your mandir. You will get it. Das Lakshan Dharma is a very popular book of Dr. Bharilji. You will get it there in Mandirji. I'll send you a number of.
No, you give me the PDF, sir. I'll
send
get
you
it
the
printed.
PDF.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can get the book also from Mandirji. I'll send you a
That is
number of a student,
okay.
ex-student. She will
Okay.
help you where you will get the Das Lakshan Dharma. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Anyone
So I
else
could not
having any
understand.
problem?
Pardon me?
Anyone having any other problem? Regarding assignments, you just ask me, I will get solved all your problems, but you do it on time. Don't give me excuses at the last moment that I didn't have the book, I don't have these, my time period has come. You know a period will come, so you have to complete it beforehand. Okay. So be very particular on assignments. It's part of our ethics that whatever we do everything on time and perfect. Okay. So we close here and
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
we will continue next week. Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। 9 बार नौकार मंत्र गिने।